We're going to bring out the time machine and roll the clock back to 1969 to look at an old Sony video tape recorder. This is a 1/2 inch black and white reel-to-reel video recorder that was sent in by a viewer. It doesn't function. There's no tape movement whatsoever. We're going to see if we can get this one going. Let's check it out. I have here a Sony CV2600. This is a 1/2 inch reel-to-reel video tape recorder. These go back to the late 60s, I believe. This one, 68 or 70, somewhere in there. Anyway, it's got a problem. Let's plug it in and see what it does and what it doesn't do. Okay, first things first, I'll apply power. I don't hear the motor starting. Nothing's happening. We'll remove the top cover and inspect the mechanism. So first we'll remove the cover for the head. Next I got to remove the capstan or the pinch roller and the control and then the screws here, and that will lift out the top cover. If we listen closely, you'll hear the motor humming like it's getting power. It's not turning. Listen. Pinch roller has to come off. Now this will lift off. And the head is spinning, so the belt is good there. This belt is okay. We're going to have a bad capacitor on here. The motor run capacitor is bad. That's why the motor's not spinning. The take-up spool turns. Rewind will turn as well. So we have an electrical problem in this one. There's going to be a large capacitor, probably around a 2 microfarad or so capacitor that runs the motor. It's an AC motor, and that run capacitor is going to be open, and that's why the motor's not turning. So we need to access the bottom of the unit. One of this, I think the whole unit lifts out of here actually. Take out some screws and then the whole chassis should lift out. But we're going to have a run capacitor problem on this one. Put more screws on the top here. Sony did the same with these as they did with their reel-to-reel machines. A couple of screws going through the handle as well to hold the chassis in place. 2 more on this side. Now this entire chassis should lift out, including this metal frame to lift out of the box. Just like that. This is going to be the AC capacitor that's gone bad on this one. That's a run capacitor. I think that's the run capacitor on this one. Going to the motor. So this is a 2 plus a 1.5 microfarad cap rated at is it 250 AC. It's an AC capacitor, similar to what is found in fans and so forth. If we measure the capacitance, it'll be bad. We'll check the we can check the 1.5 side as well, but it's going to be open. So if we look between common and the 1.5 side, oops, might help if I put it in capacitance mode. Okay, that one's measuring up at 1.6. But this other one here will be probably open. I gotta take the wires off of it to test it. Okay, cut the wire off. That way I can test this one. Oh, it's measuring 2.3, but it's certainly not making the motor spin, that's for sure. And the motor is not seized or anything. It's fine. It's got the microfarads there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip it to the 1.5 side, which would be for 50 hertz operation. And we'll see if it turns on. So when I turn on the power, if the motor starts to spin, I've got the power on. I just haven't got raised up the little arm over here. But if I raise up the arm, the auto stop arm, this should start to spin if the capacitor is good on the other side, which, as you can see, it is. If I connect it to the bad side over here, it won't spin at all. Oh, it is spinning. Maybe it's this sucker that's bad. That might be where the fault is. It might be that one that's gone bad. That may have shorted. That 0.5K 250 volts. I wonder if this cap shorted. Because if that cap shorted, it would effectively make that thing zero. So that might be all that's wrong. Is this other little cap here that's on here has gone bad. Let's see whether that's the case. Is it shorted? Ah, yeah, I think it is shorted. 17 ohms is what this is measuring. There's our fault. So I thought it was the electrolytic that was bad, but it's not. It's actually this other one. This one here is shorted. Excellent. I'm sure I could probably find a cap to replace that. It's actually not even necessary, that cap. But it's a 0.5 at 250 volts, and I know I'm going to have a bunch of those kicking around, so let's just put the original back on, and I'll replace this one shorted cap, and that should make this thing run. Okay, I've got a 0.47, which is as close as I've got. It can go in place of that one. It's a 0.5, but 0.5s are hard to come by now because it's not a standard size that they make these days. So I'm just going to put the wire back on for the motor. And we'll put this cap in. I got some heat shrink tubing to cover the leads so that I don't have to worry about it shorting out on anything. We'll see if this thing plays. The tapes, I'm sure that the tapes that are with it are probably no bloody good. What this extra capacitor is for is just to get the microfarads up. They put a 1.5 and a 2, and it probably required 2.5 for the impedance of the coil to match for 60 hertz operation. So because they didn't have a 2.5 to install at the factory, they just put an extra 0.5 microfarad on it to get it up to the value that they needed it to be at. Which is quite common. A lot of companies did that. Parallel caps to get to the value that they need. Get this piece of plastic tubing in the way. I'm just going to kind of twist the wires around here and solder them. Get it out of the way so it's not going to touch anything. There we go. That should be fine. Let's apply power and watch the motor start to spin. There you go. The belts all look to be in good shape too, which is amazing considering how old this unit is. Well, I've got the unit on its side. We can go through some of the parts down here and see how this thing is built. This is kind of like some of the early Betamax use a similar design to this. It's a belt drive, so one motor turns everything. But you notice there's a crossover here on the drum, and the reason for that is because the drum spins the opposite direction on these machines. On 3/4 inch, the drum spins clockwise, but the tape travels from right to left. So it's the same as this. This one here, the tape travels from left to right, but the drum spins clockwise. Now the reason they did that was because it adds to the speed, the relative speed. With the tape moving the opposite way that the drum head is spinning, it actually adds to the speed, the relative speed. When the drum is spinning the same direction as the tape is moving, it subtracts. For VHS, beta, and 8mm, and mini DV, and digital audio tape, the head drum spins counterclockwise, which is the same direction that the capstan shaft would turn. Right? So capstan shaft is turning counterclockwise, as is the drum. Right? But now they all use direct drive motors, but in the early ones they used a belt drive. And because the drum spins the opposite direction that the capstan shaft turns, they do use a simple technique of just doing a crossover belt. So as the main motor is turning counterclockwise, which will turn the capstan shaft counterclockwise, which will pull the tape through the machine, the head drum is turning clockwise. Another thing that these early machines had was a magnetic brake, which is right here. And if it looks like a shaded pole motor, well, it's similar. So the laminated iron core that goes through the coil does not completely go around the motor, around the rotor, as you can see here. It only goes halfway. And that's because it's not a motor, it's a brake. This is fed with a DC current. And this is part of the servo. So for the servo, normally when the head drum is spinning, it is belt driven to spin slightly faster than the required speed of 1800 RPM. And what they do is the servo circuit applies a DC voltage to that brake, which slows this down. So as the head drum is spinning, there's a magnetic force on here that causes the belt to slip ever so slightly. And the belt is designed so that it does slip. That's part of how it works. It slows it down. All these older single speed machines, like the SL7600 and the SL8200 Sony Beta, that were a single speed machine, they all work off the same principle. As did the Sanyo I think it was VTC or VCT? VTC 9100. It was a Sanyo single speed Beta 2 machine. And it was the same. It had a single motor, belt drive for the capstan and for the drum, and it used exactly the same setup to control the speed. All these machines did that. Now, you guys want to see if this works. So let me go drag out the black and white monitor, and fingers crossed it works. We'll thread up a tape. We'll see if this unit will play. So I'll thread up the tape. Tape goes around the guides like this. I don't know whether it's going to do anything or not. I suspect that it probably won't have a picture, but at least the tape will turn. In fact, this tape itself may be so badly deteriorated that it doesn't even move. But we'll see. Alright, let me get this thing power. I'm looking at the picture on the TV and I see nothing at the moment. Looks like it's got clogged heads. That's what it looks like. I don't see a picture, I just see snow. There's only one thing for certain. I smell ozone coming off this monitor. I clean the record play switches. There's two of them, one for the video and one for audio. They're up in, one's up here. I think this is the audio one. down here. And we'll just exercise those switches a bit, get them clean if they're dirty, which they likely are at this point. That's the audio one right there. That's the video. Take a look at the contact rings under here. Alright, this is playing pretty good off the machine that I have because this is not the right type of tape, first of all. This is a VHS tape that's been wound onto one of these spools, so it's way too thin. It doesn't record properly. But that was what was on the machine when it was given to me like years and years and years ago. The original tape was shot and someone just wound a couple of spools of VHS tape on, but it's far too thin and it doesn't work properly. The tension is way out of whack. But I just wanted to try it to see if I could get a picture. I'm going to try a couple of the tapes that were supplied with the machine again. The Scotch tape, I don't know what's going to happen with that because it appears to have a major stiction problem. We'll try this other one again. Sounds like the tape is so tight that it's actually causing the drum to slow down from stiction. See if I can adjust the horizontal hold on the TV. There we go. Okay, well, that's working better than it was. That's the still frame. What's happening here is the tape itself is sticking. It's slowing everything down. Okay, we got a bit of slippage here. A little bit of slippage on between the capstan and the pinch roller. The tape is sticking a bit because the tape's old. It's got a lot of torque, a lot of tension just from sticking on the mechanism, so it's actually slipping at the pinch roller. Geez, you know, I don't know how much better I can get it to play than that. That's actually not playing too bad considering how old this tape is. I just cleaned this machine. Look at the crap that's coming off the tape. This tape is so old that well, I'll show you. Look at this. Look at how the tape is coming off of the ply spool. It's sticking. It's been on there so long. It might free up a bit after it's been played a couple times and the machine cleaned. But the binder on this tape is, I just wiped that off and there's debris coming off the tape again. And I'm sure that the heads will be all clogged up. It's playing, as you can see. The tape is playing. It's probably playing as good as it's going to play. Anyway, the guy that owns this machine is going to be pretty happy to actually have a machine that can play back some of these old tapes. Obviously, I'm not going to touch any of the angle posts on it. They're still factory sealed. That's what affects the alignment. The machine that I was given years and years ago, somebody already played around with them, and I bought another one similar to this from a guy, and the heads were snapped off. So that one's kind of a lost cause too. But this one's in good shape. This one's working, so I'm going to start putting this thing back together and I think we can probably leave it at that one capacitor that was replaced for the AC motor, and cleaning the switches, of course, the record play switches, because this appears to be working. I'll clean the heads. I'm going to run this tape through, and then I'll clean the heads again and see if it plays better. Even trying to rewind this tape, there's so much tension on here because everything's just sticking. I mean, you can see the amount of tension on that tape. There's lots of take-up torque, but the tape itself is sticking to the drum. Like, even if I try to turn it by hand, it's really, really sticking now, to the point where it won't even rewind. We'll clean the transport, and also take a look at the drum itself. The drum has a lot of wear on here. This is also going to contribute to the tape sticking. It's polished up and really quite nicely from excessive use. But take a look. I cleaned this. Like, I just cleaned this off. This is what came off of it when I cleaned it. And it's dirty again just from playing this one tape, because the tape itself is in such bad shape that the oxide coating is coming off. You see what I mean? That's from playing this for like 10 minutes. You can see the heads aren't in this position. The head is way over here, but you can see what's come off of this. We'll clean it again. That's going to be the biggest problem the guy has with this, is trying to keep it clean to play these old tapes, because these videotapes have all deteriorated to the point where they're not going to be really playable. You're going to be cleaning the machine every few minutes of use. Like, to get a recovery off of some of these tapes, you'll be playing it for a couple of minutes and then stopping to clean the crap that's come off the tape, off of the heads and the guides and the rollers. Well, there's no rollers on this one. They're just fixed guides, but still, this is what's come off this. That's just from playing this tape for 5 minutes. So I'm avoiding where the head is itself, but you can actually see, if you look down over here, you can actually see the particles of tape that are just shedding off this tape. You can see them, like right where are we here? I can see the tape particles here. That's just falling off the tape, and that's the situation that all these tapes are going to be in at this particular age. They're going to be so old that the head itself is the little black chip right above where the Q-tip is. That's the head there. I'm not touching, I'm just pointing at it. So we clean this. There's a lot of wear on here too. You see this part that's shiny, that's wear, which is going to contribute to the excessive tension. But this machine here is pretty much, it's worn. It's very well worn, that's for sure. Back in the day, if this was sent in for service, that upper drum would be replaced. That would be considered to be worn out at this point. But it's functional. It's running now. The fellow that owns it will be able to play his tapes, at least try to get a recovery off them while they still play. Look at the head. I just cleaned this. Look at how dirty this got again. This is the full race head, of course. This was all just cleaned before running this tape for a couple minutes. So that's where we stand on this one. One capacitor, a motor run capacitor, was bad. Replace that. And clean the record play switches. The fact this thing's even playing this tape is quite amazing, considering the crap that's coming off the tape. I've been playing it now for a few more minutes and I've cleaned it, but you'll see what's forming on the drum again. Looks like that's where the tape ended. But you see, I don't know if that's salt or what it is. Could be salt. Anyway, Anyway, I'm going to rewind this tape and how slow it's going. There's so much tension on that tape. I mean, there's just so much tension on here. The tape is stuck to the drum. So I think I'm going to put this one back together because this one is functional. It came to me with a motor not working, and basically all I've done on this is I changed out the cap. This one was shorted, but I put another one in to replace this one. And this unit is now working. But as you can see, that tape is in pretty rough shape. I don't know if I can rewind this without, probably won't rewind without going through the machine, but it's so gummed up that it might not even try to rewind it like this. I say the tape itself is sticking to the head drum. It won't even rewind because it's just so much crap has come off the tape itself. I'm going to try the other tape and see. I don't think that one's going to play any better either. That's the problem with all these tapes. I have a couple that I had given to me with mine, and one of them's like this. It's the same. It won't play. It just sticks. And then there's the one that, well, there's this other one back here that someone wound VHS tape on, and well, that doesn't work properly either because it's too thin. If anyone noticed this, yes, this tape was one that was designed for color. It could be used for either. It was called a Chroma 80. The tape designed for color was, I guess, a higher quality tape than that was designed for monochrome. Back-coated tape. I hate this stuff. Scotch. 3M garbage. 3M garbage. We'll thread this one up and just see whether this one does anything. I think this one's probably in as bad a shape, if not worse, than the other one, but we'll see. We'll see if there's anything on this tape just before I throw it together. That way, if I have to rewind it like that, I can. This tape doesn't even want to move. Like, it's so stuck. I guess there's something on it. If I can get the machine to clean and play it, I'll try cleaning it one more time here and just see if this one will yield anything. So, brand new Q-tip. Head is right there, so we'll just avoid the head. So far, that's just half of it. Okay, so that's just the drum. We'll do the audio head and the video head as well. I mean the audio head and the erase head. And the rest of the transport. This is the third time I've cleaned it since it was here. Oh, holy crap! Need I say any more? This is like, I didn't clean this one the last time on camera. I cleaned it off camera the first time. So what has appeared on this is just from the use. One tape. I didn't even finish playing the entire tape. And of course the other side is this piece over here as well. The erase head. Okay. So that's, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes of playtime. Something like that. That tape that was on there was only a 30-minute tape. Like, this is a 1-hour tape, this one. The other one was only a 30-minute tape. and it wasn't fully recorded. It was only recorded about halfway. So yeah, it's as you can see, the tape itself is just these old tapes are just in really bad shape, and it's of the sticky shed period. A tape like this, in order to transfer this, you'd have to bake it for sure. This would have to be baked. Any of these old tapes will have to be baked before you try to play them. That's pretty much a given. But now that this tape is, or the machine is somewhat clean, let's see if it'll play this recording back. Look at that! Wow.
South Bend, Indiana. And Don, at this time, I'd like to welcome you to this program.
That might be my TV that's shaking a bit there.
I've seen you perform many times, and I know you can do an excellent job. And this time, you're going to cover fuel injectors, right? Good luck.
Well, I tell you, gentlemen, before we get started, I got a little story I want to tell you. Today, I took my tire in. While I was up there on the rack, why, one of the little boys come up and he takes the tire gauge, checks my tires, and, well, says, how much you got there? And he says, 28 pounds. And I said, how do you know you got 28 pounds? And he said, well, it says so on a gauge. I said, you know how the gauge works? And he says, yeah. He says, all you have to do is take this and put it on the tire. That little thing comes out, and read it. And I says, well, how do you know that the thing came out far enough? How do you know that...
I'm adjusting the demodulator.
That it is 28.
A little
What
bit.
makes it come out? Why didn't it come out
That's
farther?
better.
And also, if you take a hold of it, you can pull it out farther yet. How does it know where to stop? And he says, well, that's easy. He says, geez, he says, you know, I don't know how that crazy thing works. He says, I've been using these things for years, and he says, and you have to come up and ask a stupid question like that. Well, things went on, and we never did get an explanation. But anyhow, the next day, a couple days later, I'd go in there, and the proprietor comes out and says, hey, Cheech, boy, you owe me some money. And I said, for what? And he says, well, talked to my boys the other day and was talking to them about this tire gauge, and they tore them apart. So you owe me for 2 tire gauges. So this thought came to my mind when
This might be the tape is starting to contaminate, starting to slip. It's starting. There we go. There we go. That's about as far as I got. I'm probably gonna have to clean this machine again. Clean the machine again.
It's been taking advantage of good old Mother Nature.
We're looking good, but I say the tape's in this bad a shape. This is going to be a regular thing. It'll play and see how long it's going to play for. But that's actually looking pretty darn good, you know.
And old Mother Nature has a law that says that if you take a venturi and pump air through it, you will get a decrease in pressure right at this level, right at the choke of your venturi or at the neck or whatever you want to call it there. Usually there's a little annulus in here that you can pick up a pressure here, and if you pick up a pressure here. So if you flow air through a venturi, right in this section, the air velocity increases, and also creates a low pressure region right in here. Well, if you would hook a gauge, take a gauge and hook it up here, from here over to here, say for a certain amount of airflow through here, this gauge would read so many inches of water.
Anyway, I think this unit is fixed.
A water manometer to measure this with. But
I would say that picture is as good as it probably ever was, especially considering how old this machine is. So I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. One capacitor and some cleaning and cleaning the switches is all this machine required, and this machine's like 55 years old, or pretty darn close to it. That's amazing. I wish mine worked this well. I really do. I wish mine worked this well, but the one I've got that's equivalent to this needs a new head drum, and that's not about to happen. I'm not going to spend the kind of money required to get a new head drum or get the new heads for it, if there are any even around. I know there are guys out there rebuild them. There's a few guys in the States that will rebuild it, but I'm not going to put the kind of money in to fix the one I've got to make it work, because I really don't have much use for it. Anyway, I think we're gonna call this one done. And of course, it's gonna need the head cleaned again. I just know it. At least it's rewinding a little better than the other one. The other tape was. The other tape shedded so much oxide and binder and everything, it got over everything. So when it gets to the end, it automatically stops. Unit's going back together. Fasten the screws. The top and bottom. And then the feet screw into the bottom as well. Just going to oil the take-up supply and the pinch roller bearings before throwing the top on. Not that they're in bad shape, it just because it's old, right? Put a drop of oil there and another drop of oil on the main bearing itself. A little easier to thread when the covers are on, that's for sure. There we go. It's working once again. So that's it. It's done. We're going to get a hold of the fella and get this one on its way back to him. But as you can see,
located in Williamsport.
thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.